Hi, today I'm going to be showing you a quick sparkle technique to use on your cards. I'm going to use the Best Dad Ever stamp that's part of the massive dad set from Dr. Digi's House of Stamps. Also included that is the sentiment that I've used, which is the Father's Day sentiment set. When I made my card, I also used the Moustache Backing Paper set that's in it, so absolutely loads of stuff in that. So this is World's Best Dad. He also comes in coloured, by the way, so if you wanted to use him for a card and didn't want to do any of this colouring malarkey, or just wanted to add sparkle technique to the pre-coloured image, also possible, that's in there as well. So here we go, this is my setup. These are my pencils I've got at hand. Got a ranges of yellows, greens, blues, greys. I'm also probably going to use my Faber brush and my electric rubber. I'm using a standard basic sharpener at the moment because, as you know, polychromo is not fun with sharpeners. And I'm going to move into the colours I'm using. So I'm just going to colour up the t-shirts. I'm going to show you my basic technique, chat about it, stop, and then fast forward through the rest because, as you know, lots of layers, takes a while to film, takes a while to do, but you've only got so much life, so we're going to plough through that quite quickly. So my first layer will be my white layer, and that's making myself a blending surface to do everything else on. So I'm just going to colour up the t-shirt in white. Just a smooth, even layer of white, trying not to be too liney or too hard, or just want to make a nice even surface. So normally I do my skin tones first because that's the thing I mess up most, but just for today we're just going to work on the t-shirt. So I'm going all over, ignoring the writing because we're going to do that eventually too. Go, make sure I've done all around this bit that I started on. Okay, and then I'm going to pop over that a layer of yellow. So why? Because it's going to make our green pop with a nice zingy fresh tone. So I'm going to go use 107 Cadmium yellow. It's actually quite a blunt end, as you can see, because I'm just going for like a soft all over coat. This time I am going to avoid the writing because we're going to keep that white for our sparkle technique afterwards. So this is very soft, it's just a base coat, so I'm not really going to see it when I'm finished, but we want that green to be nice and limey and bright. You could go over the writing and then rub it out afterwards, also completely fine. I'm quite tempted. Okay, so a complete layer of yellow, then I'm going to go in with my lightest green, which is 171, the light green. I'm going to do exactly the same with this, so just a light coat all over. I think I might need to put a pencil extender on this soon. So I'm not worrying much, I'm just sticking it down and getting it on. We're going to blend these together afterwards. So these are my two base colours down on top of my white. Make sure I don't forget about all these bits in between the letters. And then I'm going to choose my shade colour. And just at this moment I'm going to use my dark green, which is 267 Pine Green. So we're going to start popping in some areas of shade. So this side of the arm, so my light's coming in from this direction as normal, and so I'm always work with it from the same direction, just makes life easier. Going to perhaps be a little shade where this crease is in his top, definitely this side of the neck where the neck would be obscuring the light, definitely down the side of this arm, so that's going to be the shadiest side. And then where his tummy protrudes a bit, probably have some shadow on his tummy, and definitely around this side. So if you try and keep the shadow round, it'll make his tummy look like it's pushing outwards. So still a bit scribbly. I'm going to do the underside of his belly a little bit also to help with that round feeling, and then I'm going to regard that as basic shade. I'm just dragging a little bit of dark over into the lighter area to make it easier to blend. And then I'm swapping out now. I'm going to use my 101 white. I'm going to blend that all together. So quite a lot of pressure. If you go in a different direction to the direction that you went before, when you did the base layers, it makes it faster and easier to blend. Circle stops it all getting liney. So quite a lot of pressure to drag the colours together. All over, and I'm using ever such a dull flat end to do this because I want to do maximum amount of space at a time, so thicker end, more done quickly. Okay, so that'll be my layer 1. So essentially I've got my main colour in, I've got my main areas of shading, and it's all been blended once. So the next process is repeating these layers in a similar fashion, blending in between. Sometimes I blend with white, sometimes I blend with my palest colour, which in this case would be the 171 light green. And then at a certain point, when my dark green doesn't seem to be dark enough, I'll swap over to use dark indigo, which is a dark blue, that's 157. I've also got in hand my 168, which is the olivish earth green, so it's just a slightly more olive colour than the light green I've been using. All the pencils will be listed below. I'm going to switch now into speedy version so we can get that coloured up and move straight on to our sparkle colouring. Closer so you can see the final blending stages. Okay, so now we're going to come in and do our sparkle techniques. So the first thing we're going to do is get this logo on the t-shirt coloured up in white so it's as solid as possible. We're going to have to do a bit of work because obviously I got some yellow on it while I was doing the t-shirt. So we've got to press down hard with a relatively sharp white pencil and erase all of those bits of yellow and get a smooth solid layer of white over each of the letters, symbols. So I'm pressing down quite firmly. I'm trying to get up to the edges of the letters. Make sure it's a thick, smooth layer. We don't have much of that yellow or any of the green left in the letters. It's just a little bit. That's okay. So I'm going to have a floof, check we've got some even coverage. It's a little bit down the side of this D that needs doing. On the edge of the hashtag. Right, so the next thing we're going to do is, because if you can imagine this being either sparkle or sequins, some of the colour of the t-shirt would now be reflected in the sparkly bits. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in with our dark green yellowish, which is 168, and I'm going to add a little bit of green into the letters. So we're just doing little soft dots of green over the letters, just sporadically, no particularly fixed method, a few per character. And then I'm also going to go in with my slightly darker pine green, which is 267. I'm just going to add a few slightly larger darker spots, so effectively we've just made spotty letters. I'm also going to pop in at this stage just a little bit of shadow on this D, because you can see where the t-shirt shadow comes down and round. We haven't really got anything on this D, so I'm just going to come in with my dark grey, which is the cold grey 234, and I'm just going to add a little bit of shadow here. I don't think much is necessary anywhere else, but it would make sense if this little bit of letter was a bit more shadowed, and add it in before we get our pens out. Just want that to look like the shadow from the teacup. Okay, I'm going to also add just a tiny bit of shadow with my 2, 3 and 2, so it's cold grey 3, to these letters that are furthest on the right. That seems to make sense, to add the same sort of level of shadow that's on the green. Not much, just a little bit. Little bit of a blend, softly with my white. Check we can still see our blobs of other colours. Might pop in my little bit of green again. I think I might have lost one. Okay, pencil bit done. Onto pens. Okay, so I've changed angle a little bit because it's quite hard to see me use the pens, because unlike the pencils I can't really use them side on, I have to use them completely upright. So I've got a white gel pen. I don't think it matters which one you use, I think you can just choose your favourite. And with the white gel pen I'll always have a bit of a scribble off my image to check my pen's working before I go on the image. And then over my characters I'm going to add some small white spots all over, randomly placed. And they are really quite little, so this is going to put more of these kind of spots on than anything else. This is going to be our basic glimmer. I'm going to do this all over. Try and be random. If you're not very good at random, go for an even coverage. Doing little white spots all over. Until we're happy we've almost completely covered it. I've gone into the shadow areas too, not worried about that. And then I'm going to swap over to my White Posca pen. It's the finest nibbed one, it's 0.7mm. You can use another white acrylic pen, it doesn't have to be a Posca. Then I'm going with the images, and now I'm going to do some slightly bigger circles, not as many of them. I'm just going to rub off the image, check my ink's flowing, my paint, sorry. And then we're going to do some slightly bigger circles on the characters. So these are our bigger sequins having a shine. Doesn't matter if you go over the spots you did before. It's actually just making quite a nice spotty look at the moment. Okay, so that's our white blobs. And then after that we're going to go back to our gel pen and we're going to scribble off to make sure that it's working. And now we're going to do our crosses. So these are the bits of gleam that are gleaming. So you're going to do a cross top to bottom, left to right, and we're going to do 2-ish per letter. So scribbling off, make sure I'm working, I'm going to do top to bottom, left to right cross, top to bottom, left to right cross. And I'm scribbling off because the polychromos are quite oily. Your gel pen will stop working quite regularly. Do as many as you want, place them where you want. It's okay if you go over the green because we've done that now, so it doesn't matter. So I'm doing top to bottom, left to right, and I'm actually having a scribble off to the side because I know my gel pen is quite elderly and struggles a little bit with the polychromos. And then I'm going to do a couple on the final day. I think that'll be fine. And then in the middle of each of those crosses I'm going to go back to my White Posca pen, make sure it's working off the page, and in the middle of every cross I'm doing a little Posca pen circle. So you're like making the centre of the gleam. I'm just putting it exactly where the lines cross. All over. And there we go, sparkly dad. Thank you very much for joining me today. I really enjoyed using World's Best Dad from Dr. Digis out of the Awesome Dad set. Remember, the sentiment was also from there, and in my project I'll show you in a minute I used the Moustache Backing Papers too. It's a great set, loads of stuff in it. Here's the card that I made for Making Cards magazine. I did a whole sort of inspo page for Father's Day cards using Dr. Digi images. Hope you can still snag it in the shops. Don't think it'll be there for much longer, so best buy it soon. Thanks for joining me today. Goodbye.